Hello students, today our topic is reflection of light through a prism. Although we have discussed prism in our previous videos also, but today we are studying it from our chapter number 4. So prism, as we know, it's a transparent medium bounded by 5 plane surfaces, out of which I told you that 3 are rectangular and 2 are triangular surfaces. See here. So basically our 2 refracting surfaces are inclined by an angle, and that angle we call as angle of prism. This edge is called refracting edge, and these 2 surfaces are called refracting surfaces. And when we do experiment to see the angle of emergence or to see the path of rays through a prism, just like we did with a glass slab, we usually keep the prism on our paper sheet with its triangular cross section placed on the paper, and we draw the boundary of the triangle. We fix our image pin, object pins over here, and we look through the prism, and this is our emergent ray. It means this object, if object is kept here, then its image will be seen over here. So here will be the image formed by the prism if we look through the prism. And from which edge we are looking? We are looking through this refracting side. This is the first refracting surface, this is the second refracting surface. See here once again, there were 2 refracting surfaces. The first refracting surface will face the incident ray. It will bend towards the normal. This was the direction of incidence, bending towards the normal. Then the light ray has to come out of the glass prism. Firstly, it was traveling from air to glass. At the first surface, first refraction takes place, and at the second surface, second refraction takes place when light is coming out of the glass, traveling from glass to air. So here also it has to bend, it will bend away from the normal while coming out of the prism. So it will bend away from the normal, coming out, and this is how we get the image of the object over here. And this will be our diagram. Now in this diagram, as we have studied earlier also, let us today find out the relation between all these angles. See, this was our first angle of incidence, and angle of emergence may be called I2. Now this is our I1. If we follow our knowledge of angles from geometry, then if it is I1, then this complete angle will be I1. It means vertically opposite angle. Now this is our refraction angle. It means this delta 1 will be I1 minus R1. Okay. Similarly, I2 vertically opposite to this whole angle. Now delta 2 is only this much. That's why it will be I2 minus R2. And this is the complete angle of deviation. You may watch my previous videos regarding prism. You will understand that how this angle of deviation is formed. Now let us discuss about all this derivation to find out these kind of formulae. Now derivation is not in your syllabus. You just have to learn the results. But I am telling you very quickly, in very short, how these relations have been achieved. We know that total deviation, it is the sum of the 2 deviations, delta 1 and delta 2. Delta 1, which was formed by this bending of incident ray, and delta 2 when this bending took place. So this is our delta 2. Now what is delta 1? It will be I1 minus R1, and delta 2 I2 minus R2. When you substitute these two values over here, you will get complete delta is equals to I1 minus R1 plus I2 minus R2, and rearranging the term you will get I1 plus I2 minus R1 plus R2. So this is the first result you should learn. Next, because this is A, B, C, and here you may call this point as P, this point as Q. Here the complete delta was made. Let us call it M. But here you can find a quadrilateral A, P, N, Q. Now in this quadrilateral, this is a normal and this is also a normal. This is the N line going through the normal. So that's why in the quadrilateral we know that all the angles are there, sum is 360 degree and two angles are coming out normal, that is angle APN and angle AQN. At both these points of incidence we have drawn these normals. So these are 90 degree each. It means what is left? Angle A and angle N. Now their sum will also be, if their sum is 180 degree, their sum will also be 180 degree. It means angle A, which is actually angle PAQ or PAQ plus angle PNQ, opposite angles, these will form 180 degree. It means angle PNQ will be 180 degree minus our A angle. This is angle of prism. Now from another triangle, now I'll show you the triangle from the book. From this triangle, again angle PNQ plus R1 and R2, these three form angle sum property, that is they form 180 degree. That's why from this triangle's angle sum property, angle PNQ becomes 180 degree when we apply it like this. Now these can be taken to other side, so angle PNQ becomes 180 minus R1 plus R2. Now both equations show angle PNQ, so it means 180 minus A is equals to 180 minus R1 plus R2. So it gives us this relation. This is the second relation. I can substitute this value over here in this equation. So we will get delta is equals to I1 plus I2 minus A in place of R1 and R2. Then there is a situation which we will discuss today, minimum deviation position of the prism, in which delta becomes minimum angle of deviation. Now angle of deviation becomes minimum, then it gives us I1 is equals to I2 and we may call it simply I. So from that relation you get in another relation that delta minimum becomes 2I minus A. This is another relation. Or from this relation you get I in case of delta minimum becomes delta minimum plus A, which will go on other side, divided by 2. So this is how all these results have been achieved. So first result, this you have to learn. Second is this result. Third is this one. Then this result we have derived from this relation. You write down this one in your books, because you may be asked to find out angle of incidence in case of a prism when prism angle is given and minimum angle of deviation is given. Now we study what are the factors on which this delta depends. Number one, it depends upon angle of incidence. Now its dependence on angle of incidence can be drawn in the form of a graph. We can draw a graph which is called I delta curve. Now in this graph, first of all, in the book it has been mentioned how do you attain this graph. Actually, experimentally it is done when one ray is incident on a prism, like this is the incident ray. Then the prism is rotated on a rotating table such that incident ray is kept constant, but the angle of incidence goes on varying. And for each angle of incidence, the angle of deviation, which is the angle between the incident ray and the emergent ray, which is formed over here, this angle is measured for each angle of incidence. Then their graph is plotted. Now this graph shows that firstly, when we increase the angle of incidence, angle of deviation decreases. Then it takes a minimum value for certain angle of incidence. Further increasing angle of incidence, the angle of deviation goes on increasing. So first it decreases with the increase in angle of incidence, then it increases. You should draw this in your notebooks. Then let us discuss how it happens, like a case which is an example. See here, angle of incidence are different, 70 degree, 48 degree, 30 degree. Let us start with the smaller angle of incidence. For this angle of incidence, 30 degree, the angle of minimum deviation which is formed over here is 47 degree. So keep it in mind. If we are increasing from 30, let us say 48, we get 36 degree. It means angle of deviation is decreasing firstly with the increase in angle of incidence. Then now this is the minimum deviation case. How will you interpret it? How will you get it? You should always remember that whenever, because you are going to get MCQs this time, so whenever certain diagrams are given, 2-3 diagrams are given, and it is asked in the multiple choice question which situation of the prism or which position of the prism here shows you minimum deviation position. So the identification of minimum deviation means minimum angle of deviation is that the refracted ray is parallel to the base. Otherwise, in every case, the ray is bending towards the base only. You see, the ray which is coming out of the prism, it is bending away from the normal, which is a prism action. What is a prism action? That prism always bends the ray towards its base. But how will you identify minimum deviation position? That refracted ray will be parallel to the base. In that very picture, you will say that the angle of deviation is minimum. Now in this situation, because the ray becomes parallel, you identify this case. Now if further you increase the angle of incidence, what will happen? According to your graph, you know that above this situation, if you further increase angle of incidence, that the deviation angle also increases. Now you see here, if you increase angle of incidence from 48 degree, the angle of deviation becomes more than 36 degree. Clear? Then bache, in this situation, prism becomes, the diagram of the prism becomes symmetrical. Symmetrical means I1 becomes equal to I2, R1 will be equal to R2. So that's why we had derived this relation. Because when I1 becomes equal to I2, we call it I, and we substitute I plus I over here in this diagram, in this equation, you will get twice I, and twice I minus A will be your minimum deviation angle. And for any equilateral prism, angle of prism is always 60 degree. So that becomes more easy to calculate angle of minimum deviation if you know the angle of incidence. Second factor on which angle of incidence depends, angle of deviation depends, delta depends, is the material of the prism. And if you fix the given angle, for a given angle of incidence means if you have fixed the angle of incidence, then you will find that more the refractive index, more will be the deviation. So direct relation with mu and delta. and like for certain glasses like flint glass, mu is more than that of crown glass. So delta for flint glass will be more than that of crown glass. Third factor is angle of prism, this A. So on angle of prism also the dependence is direct. More A, more will be delta. And in your higher classes you will study this relation, delta dependence on A. Fourth factor is color or wavelength of light. So because you know that for different colors different wavelengths are there, and for VIBGYOR the maximum wavelength is for red color and minimum is for violet, and that also you know that less the wavelength, more will be the refractive index of the prism's material for that particular wavelength. So wavelengths of violet is the least, that's why mu for violet is more than mu for red. Now you know that how delta depends upon mu. In this part you have done that more the value of mu, more will be delta. That's why for violet it will be more than that of red. Then bache, there are certain examples in which the incomplete diagrams are there. Obviously these kinds of questions will not be there in semester 1, but we will do it for our better understanding of the topic. Like it has been shown here that emergent ray is only given, and he has given a clue that this is a minimum deviation condition of the prism, or we call it position, actually minimum deviation position. So complete the diagram. So you know that refracted ray will be parallel to the base, and incident ray you may draw any incident ray, and if other things are labeling are required, that you will do. Second diagram, he is asking that a monochromatic. Bache, mono, please write down the meaning. Mono means single color, and he is asking you to draw the image for this. An image is always formed by at least two rays. So you may be given some diagrams for the answer figures also, like this. This is the correct answer, but you may be given diagram with a single ray. That will be not a correct answer. So this kind of MCQ based on diagrams may also be there. So at least two rays are required. One ray going parallel, or you may draw non-parallel ray also for the refracted ray, and coming out ray should be bending towards the base. That should be your criteria of drawing any diagram of prism. So second ray also, any random ray you may choose, but when you produce these two emergent rays with your scale dotted backwards, the point where they meet will be your image point. It is the position where the object is seen through the prism by your eyes. Next diagram is two prisms are placed like this, and he is asking you to complete the diagram. So for the first prism, the ray will be bending towards its base like this, little bending. Then when it falls on the second prism, it will again bend towards its base. And because the final final surfaces are parallel to each other, parallel surfaces produce lateral displacement. So this will be the case of just like your glass slab. In case of prism, the refracting surfaces, here it is given the difference between prism and glass slab. So because the prism refracting surfaces are inclined to each other, that's why the rays which are coming out and the rays which are incident, these two rays are not parallel because these surfaces are not parallel. But in case of glass slab, we did that the surfaces were parallel to each other. That's why the emergent ray was also parallel to the incident ray. There we did this lateral displacement. Here we are doing the angle of deviation, discussion of angle of deviation. So the last example is a kind where again incomplete diagrams are given. You may be asked to find out the exact answer figure for a single diagram. 4 figures may be given, so that you have to see which figure will be the answer. So for that, please draw the diagrams first of all yourself. But whenever normal incident ray is there, it should go straight without any bending. So in both the cases, they should go straight without any bending. And after this, from prism to air, they should come out away from the normal, bending towards the base. Again here normal draw कीजिए, incidence direction draw कीजिए थोड़ी सी dotted. Then the final emergent is away from the normal, away from the incident direction also. For the third case where 70 degree is the angle shown here, so angle of incidence may be asked. It will not be 70, it will be formed with the normal, so it will be 30 degree, right? First, this kind of question may also be asked. So if this is the direction of incidence, your bending should be towards the normal. And then again here draw normal. This is the direction of incidence, spiral bending is away from the normal, glass to air. So this kind of diagram will be the answer diagram. Now you have to go through the theory and solve all these questions. Actually these are only understanding based questions, no need to write their answer. Just find out whether you are able to find out what is the answer. Like question number 13 is based on this discussion. So these kinds of questions may be there in the form of MCQs. Like he is telling us a yellow color means monochromatic light is incident on an equilateral prism. Equilateral means A is 60 degree and it is given only in the form of words, right? Not given directly. Angle of incidence is given 48 degree, I is given, and the minimum deviation angle delta M is also given. So what will be the angle of emergence? You know that for minimum deviation condition, I means I1 and it is equal to I2. That is the condition. So no need to find out anything by calculating. It is understood that I1 are equal to I2. So it is 48 degree. Second question is if the angle of incidence is equal to 30 degree, means if you are changing from 48, decreasing the angle of incidence. You know that below that curve, in that curve, if this is the minimum deviation, below that curve, if you decrease the angle of incidence, minimum deviation increases. So you will write what will be the angle of minimum deviation. It will be more than 36 degree if you decrease angle of incidence from 48. And if you increase from 48, it will become 60, let us say. Then what will be the value of minimum deviation angle? It will be now more than 36 degrees. So you just have to write less than or more than. Okay. So in both the cases, minimum deviation is for one incidence only. Then for the decreasing also it increase, and for increasing also it increase. So that's why in both the cases the answer is more than